2026. It's 4:30 PM, Thomas J. Smith Council Chambers here at City Hall in Burlington, Iowa at 400 Washington Street, if you don't know where that is. We have several discussion items tonight. The first would be a treasurer's report. Mrs. Crowner. Come on up.
In the packet is December's treasurer's report. Couple things that I just tell you is when you're looking at things like hotel, motel, those are timing issues based on transfers
Okay.
and timing of when we get our hotel motel tax receipts in. Other than that, like vehicle maintenance is always a timing issue because we're always behind. And then as far as the capital projects, the big one is Saunderson Heights project, and we're still waiting on reimbursement
Okay.
for that.
From the
so-
state? Or from?
Yes, from the pilot program
Got
that
it.
we're supposed to be getting our funding from. Other than that, it's the revenues and the expenditures, there's nothing major out there. I mean, there's like, if you're looking at the expenditures, I'd point out that, in accounting is where we ran through our new OpenGov contract.
Okay.
So that's why that would be a little bit over the 50% mark, because we paid it all at once. But other than that, if you guys have any questions.
Council, you have any questions for Mrs. Crowner?
No.
I don't. You always hit the panic button when it's time to panic.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Number two is Uniti Kinetic Windstream Fiber. The speaker is going to be Matt Graham, but Public Works Nick is going to tell us what to do. Mr.
So, Kinetic/Unity Fiber has come to Public Works staff with a proposed citywide fiber project. And so this is actually Rex. Matt's unable to make it. So just wanted him to discuss with you all the project that they're proposing for install across the community. So
Okay,
I'll let him take it from here.
come on up, sir. Welcome.
Hi. Good evening. Thanks for having me here. My name is Rex Roberts. I'm a utility coordinator with Unity, otherwise known as Kinetic. Kinetic's our fiber to the home piece. Unity's just our broader company. We're just a subsidiary of Unity. And what we would like to do, what we've budgeted for the 2026 fiscal year is to extend a fiber to the home service off of our existing trunk line feeder fiber that we have running through town. And essentially what that would consist of is about, it would be fiber to the home, so another fiber provider for town, for you guys' town. I'm been told that you guys already have 2 fiber to the home providers in town, so having a third would just help out with competition. It would drive rates down for everybody in town, and yeah, that's the bulk of what we're proposing for a project like this for a city the size of Burlington. Would be a little bit larger of an undertaking. We would start it in 2026. We'd aim to have it completed by year end.
Okay.
We have a vendor that's been working with us on these projects, and it's one of the larger vendors in the nation. It's Diacom, if you're familiar with Diacom. So they own Telcom and about 65 other companies that they could bring under their umbrella to work towards this initiative. And in this construction project, we have it already broken into about 20 to 30 individual projects included under the fiber build. And we're happy to work with you guys and manage that however best works with you guys.
So are you proposing to have an appoint person here in town during the project, someone we could talk to from your company, or would we be dealing with the installer?
We could do both. We have a construction inspector who can be in town, daily if you need them to be. And we also have the construction superintendent that would, you know, likely be working with the city as well.
Fair enough.
And-
Just, I would defer that to Nick at Public Works, Mr. McGregor there, but I just want to make sure that if, you know, if we embark on this, that we're going to have someone we can talk to if there's an issue.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we're in your city, right? I want you guys to be able to have as much control over all of it. If you want to stagger the build into a specific sequence so that we're not overwhelming locate companies, you know, the city's got to locate their own lines. We don't want to have every corner of Burlington get called in and overwhelm everyone. That's not the goal. I think, you know, we're willing to structure the build however best, you know, suits the city.
Do you do by neighborhood or by
Yeah,
section, or how do you decide where to go?
it breaks down. So when we polygon it out to specific areas, to turn a big project into a smaller manageable handful of projects, the way we do that is we go by cable size. And, you know, a larger cable is gonna support another cable that's gonna get split into smaller cables. And ultimately, what that winds up looking like is that it's neighborhoods that are turned into individual project codes. And I know we wouldn't have just one crew out here working it. You know, it would be an effort, right?
Sure.
But in that, we want to minimize residential disruption as much as possible. So it's in our interest to work with the city step and step to ensure that.
That's good news. Mr. McGregor, you have something to add? I see you're getting up and coming forward.
So you're aware, engineering staff has met with folks from his company and kind of laid out what our expectation is, including a point person to deal with things. Having come off the heels of a citywide, community-wide fiber install by IMON, I know that there's probably some apprehension amongst the residents to have a whole new crew come in and install essentially in the same locations or similar locations. So we've gone over the expectations,
Okay.
kind of on the front end for locating, on the permitting side, and then on the back end, because I know the back end is the stuff that most people paid attention to, or at least saw where street patches were and such. So I just wanted him to come, or the company to come and present, so that you're not taken by surprise when there's 1,000 locate flags starting to pop up in residential neighborhoods. So
Okay.
it's something that we learned probably on the front end of IMON's install, that not that we weren't prepared, but it was a big undertaking, and this is going to be another big undertaking for not just our staff, but also our residents.
Sure.
So,
Well, I would agree that
But-
more competition is always good for pricing, so I'm excited about being able to offer our citizens options.
And already have going through that with IMON. You know, that's a learning experience that we ultimately would get to benefit from, right? You guys know how you would have preferred that build to
That's why I was asking the questions I was asking, Rex.
Absolutely. You know, Matt, like you said, Matt's already met with the Public Works Department, and they've kind of talked about scoping sewer lines after a build's complete.
Okay.
And there's been a mention of sharing sewer infrastructure and mapping, so we can overlay that with our proposed build, and then we can identify potential conflicts, so we can get ahead of those, you know, on the front end. So,
Good.
Sounds good.
absolutely.
The more fiber, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I would agree with you. Any questions, council? Tim, you up to speed? Catch?
I'm good.
Okay, good. Ready? Okay. Thank you, sir. Good
Thanks
luck
for having
and
me.
Get her done quickly and cleanly, please.
Excellent.
Next up will be DPI annual report. Amy Moyner, one of our favorites. Come on up, Amy.
It's happening.
This is right. Good morning, good morning. Oh my goodness, what time is it? Good afternoon, everyone. I am Amy Moyner. I am the Director of Downtown Partners Inc., a division of the Greater Burlington Partnership, and thank you for having me here. Today, I'm just going to give a quick overview of our program, who we are, our accomplishments, and thank you, Eric, in 2025, and also what we're working on in 2026 here. So as always, I've got to show you our map of who we are and what other cities are part of the Main Street program. So we are part of Main Street America. We were established in 1986, and so we are celebrating our 40th year as a Main Street program here in downtown Burlington. But we are also have our peers out there in Main Street, Iowa. We have 53 other communities that are part of this program that we network with and share best practices with, and also rip off and duplicate some things. Where am I pointing at? There we go. So how are we funded? So Downtown Partners, Inc. is funded through a couple different sources. First is our SMID tax. That's $3 in every $1,000 valuation of a building. That was put in place in 1996. And so that is one of our primary funds, although property tax reform is kind of hindering that income for us. Partnering for the Future, that is another way that we are supported. We have fundraising, and you see that through some of our events, like a Very Vintage Market, Sip, Taste, and Stroll. We do have sponsorships and marketing programs with our downtown businesses to help market them. We also rely on beautification grants that help us with our outdoor decor and also flower planting. And then, of course, the City of Burlington, thank you for your support and continued support for our program. So our vision is for downtown Burlington to be a unique and vital downtown that celebrates history, encourages entrepreneurial spirit, artistic expression, entertainment activity, hospitality to visitors, and instills a sense of place in the community. During our board meeting this last week, we talked a lot about that, what that means of sense of place. We want to be that third space for our community. So you have your home, you have your work, and we want you to have your downtown, a place that you're comfortable in and a place where you can relax, hopefully bond with people, neighbors, and make new acquaintances. But our mission, though, is to be we are a volunteer-driven Main Street program established to preserve and revitalize downtown Burlington while enhancing and improving the quality of life for our residents and our community. So some of the things, this says 2026, I'm sorry about that, it should say 2025. I'm so excited about 2026, we've got a lot of fun things happening. But in 2025, excuse me, we had 7 new businesses open. We had 2 new businesses expand, so you saw that with Concordia, which is now Cedar and Vine at Good. And then also Time and Spice that you're seeing expand now into their new location that will open up here in February. We had 15 new residential units. That means we have over 300 residential units just in our downtown. That does not include North Hill. That is just our downtown residential units. We had over $15 million invested. That's private investment in downtown. We added 3 new murals contributing to downtown's growing art identity. And then we had, I know this doesn't mean a lot to you all, 1,000 new followers on Facebook. That's all organic. We don't pay for those followers. And so for us, that just means more marketing and more people we reach through our social media. And then 65,000 people in attendance. That's even with canceling the parade downtown. But we had other events that brought a lot of people downtown. Over 600 volunteer hours, and then we hosted our first Creative Places Exchange in May, and we had 100 people in attendance there. So what are we working on in 2026? Our big 3 transformational strategies are business retention and growth. So how do we retain the businesses that we already have in our community and in our downtown? How do we make sure that they're getting the proper training, any professional development they need? But also, how do we grow those businesses? So like we saw that with now Cedar and Vine and Time and Spice. But also, how do we recruit new businesses in? So we know that we're missing like our downtown grocery. We know we're missing ethnic foods. We want to have men's retail. So, and also experiences. And so how do we keep getting in those amenities that ties into our social gathering and also residential amenities for our downtown? So those are some of the things that we're working on. And how we do that is through our committees. So Downtown Partners has our board, but we also have our Economic Vitality Committee, and they are working on building a diverse economic base. And so some big activities that we've done in 2025 and working on in 2026 are our professional trainings. So Downtown Deets is a professional training. We hosted 3 of those last year, and we're hosting 3 of those this year. We just got done with AI training, and our next one is succession planning, helping us just continue to think about where our businesses are going to go when retirement happens and things like that. The other thing that we're working on in 2026 is how to start a small business. So we're having a toolkit that we have an old toolkit from, I think, 1998. It's a very old. We're working with the Small Business Development Center and other professionals to get that up to date. And a lot of that will be with the city too. Different things, who they need to contact when starting a business, what they need for codes, things like that as they do improvements to their buildings as well. We also did in 2025 a big inventory of all of our downtown parcels and buildings. And so that was through Booms Tracker. It's building opportunities on Main Street. This is through Main Street America. And so we went through, not me personally, we actually had a wonderful intern, Eli, at the partnership that helped us inventory all of our parcels and buildings in downtown. So this is just a quick overview, but this is kind of the data that if the city ever needs this data, we would love to be able to walk you through this, talk through this. But 301 parcels, 227 buildings on those parcels, buildings with vacancies 84, 68 buildings that need maintenance. And so that could be tuck pointing roofs, that could just be the interior too, that's just not renovated, ready. 138 significant buildings, so that's in our historic district, National Register districts. We have 239 identified businesses, 343 housing units downtown, and we can still add a potential of 133 more. That's just with the already existing buildings. So some good data there. Economic Vitality Committee also has worked on this robust program called Block Captains. So every block has a captain, and that's them there. This is a way that we can communicate to the businesses. We hand out posters, so just to let you know what happened in January. They get a newsletter, and that newsletter talks about different events, and this is just peer-to-peer. So like Sue Ann on the 200 block, Sue Ann Wells has the bean counter. She is their block captain, so she hands out a newsletter telling the businesses what's going on. And then like this month, we talked about downtown recycling. And so we had a poster made, and those go up in the businesses, and we just let them know important things that might be happening in the city, in downtown, and also important to their businesses. The next committee we have is marketing and promotions. And this committee is there to put the feet on the street, bringing people down to downtown Burlington. The big thing is that they work on is farmers market, a very vintage market. But this year, they worked on some new events that you're going to see in 2026. Some of those are, well, Casino Days coming up in March. They working on the Mini Golf Challenge, which is a fundraiser. They're working on a downtown to table, which will be like a farm to table fundraiser for us in downtown. And then they're there to support our small businesses as well. And so we did that through holiday guides. And so hopefully you saw our little holiday guides either physically or digitally. And these are some of the events. Dwight, you see yourself there? So some of our fun events that we have hosted throughout this last year: farmers markets, living windows, murals, very vintage, and the kids farmers market. That was a huge success for us this last year. Design committee, that is just placemaking. How do we celebrate our architecture, our history, and create placemaking space for that third space in our downtown? Big thing that you see from them are cleanup campaigns and also flower planting. And so this year, we're going to talk about fundraising for flower planters because our flower planters are 40 plus years old. Art in downtown, design committee also looks at the art in OKs and looks at blade signs and helps support that. But our big initiatives this year is to create more art and vibrancy in the downtown. So art helps with growth, vibrancy, and that sense of place. Every dollar invested in the arts generates an average return of $5 in economic activity. And that's $166 billion in economic activity every year and supporting 4.6 million jobs. And we would just love to see just a little percentage of that in our downtown. So working on that for sure. Some of the projects Design Committee has also helped with is through Main Street, Iowa. We have a free rendering design program. And so these buildings here have all had renderings and some improvements of what they can do for commercial space done through Main Street, Iowa. The one on the right there, that's a picture you've seen a couple times if you've watched my presentations. That is what 300 Washington could look like. And so working on some different things, new residential complexes, Inspiration Lab, the 600 block improvements, and then a boutique hotel still in the works. STEM Museum, so Downtown Partners, we are very involved in the Inspiration Lab, and that's just a rendering there. Again, that rendering up top was done by Main Street, Iowa, as they were talking about what that building could look like as a children's museum. We are still very committed to the Lightscape project, so any issues, problems with lighting, you contact Design Committee through Downtown Partners, and we make sure that those issues are fixed, and we report those, and just make sure that we're checking up on all those lights, the steeples, the bridge, and also Snake Alley. Some of our goals in 2026. First, again, we're focusing on our transformational strategies, but then also supporting that business retention and growth. We are also working on amenities for our downtown. So a dog park, we would love to partner with the city and help with that. Nancy Nafee improvements, any amenities like the recycling, those are ways that we advocate for the city and help get everyone involved in that. But expanding our social gathering spaces too. So finding green spaces is a great thing, mostly for our residents. We're going to celebrate our 40th anniversary here, and then just supporting our small businesses. How do we support them? How do we support our building owners as they hopefully renovate or transition to new ownership? So I hope you all know in downtown Burlington it's happening. But if not, you can always see that on our social media. We advertise for our downtown through social media, through radio, through press releases, newsletters, email blasts, always talking about what's going on. And I always have FOMO, Chad. I think you've had FOMO a lot of weekends around here too. But if you don't want to do any of that, we have our downtown app. So this is something new that launched last year. We have on there calendar of events. We have walking tours that talk about the history of downtown. We have our businesses, things to do, parking. So if people don't know where to park, we've got our parking on there. But also we're just trying to make this more robust. So the more you use it, if you see issues, let us know. We want to make it very user-friendly. You can download that on any way you download your apps. Last year, we were so thankful for our community. The community came together and fundraised for snowflakes. We thought this would be years to get decorations like this in downtown with our new light poles. We were able to accomplish this in just 18 months, and we had all of our snowflakes up this season. So I hope you got to enjoy those in the downtown. But like I said, we are now fundraising for flower planters. These are 40 plus years old. They've taken off with semis and been hit by cars. And I think at one point we had 100 throughout the district. We now only have about 50. So we are looking at keeping the ones that we can save and salvage. We will patch and paint and try to keep as much longevity there. But as we're replacing, we are looking at self-watering planters to help with just the labor of taking care of these plants. I do have to say that on Friday night at the Greater Burlington Partnership annual dinner, we fundraised and raised over $6,000 already for these flower planters. That sounds like a lot of money, $6,000. That only buys 10 planters, but we'll be working on that. And I should say too, we have a mini golf challenge. I didn't put that in there, but mini golf challenge on March 6th to help with that fundraiser as well. So I want to thank you all for your support for our program, for Downtown Partners. Thank you for all that support. But for those listening at home, you can always eat and drink and shop downtown. attend or sponsor our events, follow and tag us, and just keep us in the know on how we can support or anything that you want us to be seen or have downtown. There's some of our volunteers. Like I said, we had over 600 volunteer hours. Chad and John and Kay, I know you're at a lot of those events, so thank you so much for your support. All right, any questions for me?
That's a cool picture.
Amy,
Like
that mural of the big flower, where's that at?
That is on 8th and Jefferson. So that was done by Chuck Day that owns 9 Dot Tattoo there.
Okay.
And so, yeah, he tagged that, I guess, sprayed that over the summer.
Okay.
It was sprayed?
Yeah,
Yeah, the man has skills.
yeah, he does.
Beautiful.
Do you know the occupancy rate of the rentals downtown?
Yeah, we're sitting about 90%. Urbane 424 is having a little difficulty with some of their rentals. They've changed them to Airbnbs, which have been successful for them. And some of our larger, like Churchill, right now, they've got 3-bedroom, 3-bath that are over 2,000 square foot. They're having a little difficulty getting people to take over those, but so about 90%.
That's good.
And that's just based off of the, like zoning, I'm guessing, for like the empty residential units and things like that, or like the possibility of adding more.
Oh, yeah,
That's based off of how the
many-
current buildings are currently zoned.
That's how, yes, and that's how many we actually have that are residential units.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
And then if we had a horticulturist, they would be the ones that would help take care of the planters and the whatnot?
Good, that's part of the conversation.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts or concerns? The only thing I would say is, don't sell yourself short. Shoot for a full-size hotel. We need more rooms.
Well, I think we might get a boutique before that.
I'm just saying, don't be afraid to reach for the stars. That's what you always do, and you always hit it, so.
I'll shoot for that for sure.
All right, great stuff. Thank you,
Thank
Amy.
you.
Thanks, Amy.
Well done to your organization. Next up is annual airport annual report. I said that all backwards with Sarah Sandberg. Sarah, tell us what all the great things going on at the airport tonight.
Well, that's a hard one to follow.
Yeah, it is. We got a lot of great stuff going on in Burlington.
Yeah, you do.
And we have jet planes.
And yes, you do have a jet plane. That's right. So thank you again for all your ongoing support. Dwight and Jay and John, they're great to have on our board. They have a lot of value that they give to it, information, experience. So you all know the use of the airport has been going up. We've got a lot of business travelers, but I'm seeing a lot of non-business travelers as well. One of the things that we really notice is the fact that you see the ramp out there, that people are able to get on the plane, whether they're in a wheelchair, they're in a walker, struggle just a little to walk, whatever the case. I see a lot more of those traveling now. So that's a good thing. The continued services that are provided, of course, are the charter services by Jet Air that they have, flight training, fuel sales, and aircraft sales. There's also air medical and air ambulances going out of there. Aircraft maintenance work, military aircraft land there and do exercises. I never know when they're coming. Sometimes they'll call and let me know, but you just never know. And sometimes you hear them and you're thinking, that's a big one. So, Contour started their service, of course, July 1st. The completion rate is on pace to get up to the pre-COVID numbers little by little here. The first 6 months were pretty amazing to me. 97.5 completion rate. Number of employments has increased 19%. And that's in that 6 months time period as to the 6 months last year. We wanted to compare apples to apples during the seasons. So with those employments, just as a comparison, 2023, we got 391,648. In 2024, the numbers started to decline even more with Southern. They went to 372,482. In 2025, we are looking at probably 464,000. I don't have the official numbers yet, but it should be, we've been tracking it, and that's generally where we should be. Avis, they're increasing their presence with 25 vehicles versus 18. We have also increased the concessions with them from 7% to 9%. If you look at those charts, you'll see that obviously the increase in total passengers served was a 16.6% increase. The other one shows operations, and you see a decrease. And that is primarily because 312 were less commercial flights because we're only flying 12 flights a week versus 24, but the employments are going up. So that speaks for itself, in my opinion. We've been making a lot of improvements. Airside needs, we've taken care of most everything that needs taken care of at this point. So we are working on a vestibule that goes now from the terminal to the new hangar. We're refurbishing what was classified the old city building. That one sits there across from Casey's. It's getting reshelled, and it should look basically brand new from the outside very shortly. The solar that was installed, and you can see from that graph, the immediate impact that we got from it. To me, it's pretty amazing, you know, to see bills come in for electric that's $100 or less, running all the lights and everything. So the taxiway A, B East, C, and D lighting projects were all completed. We now have LED lighting in every facet of the airside except 1230, and that one will happen only when they reconstruct 1230, which is down the road. And right now it's looking at 2039 because the pavement is too good. So there are some cracks. There's some painting that needs done on it. That'll have to be a project in itself. That's probably about $1 million project, but so I'm just kind of throwing that out there for planning purposes, that 1230 down the road, they'll be looking for help to construct that from the city, West Burlington, and Des Moines County. So, entrance road and parking lot scheduled to start here shortly. In fact, we're having the pre-com meeting Wednesday. We have put in for an ATP application for additional updates to the terminal. We want some extra space in the secure area. We want to update maybe the HVAC, flooring, ceiling, lighting, baggage, anything that touches passengers. They won't allow us to do anything outside of those parameters. Don't know if we'll get it. We'll probably find out here in about 3 months. In the rest of the documents here, you're going to see all the improvements that we've been making. So when I take a look at over the last 7 years, $23,168,710 worth of improvements. Local dollar matches to those were $3 million. So we've been pretty fortunate that we've been able to get a hold of some funding to take care of some of these things. The budget. This budget that's in front of you is a little on the short end. I mean, I think we're okay and everything, but we've loaded up the wages and loaded up the benefits to start training a person to take my place. So probably try to bring somebody on in May or June, start training them up, for me to leave in January, February. So, you've got the 5-year plus, it's really 2026 through 2031 out here. So, I know Chad wanted that for planning purposes, and
I don't think we have that in
Yeah, I
our
don't
packet.
see it
Can
in
you
there,
forward
so-
that to us?
Yeah.
Okay,
oh, it wasn't in the package?
Didn't make it in the packet, so I will, I know I have
Okay.
it though.
we'll get it.
Okay. Anyway, so I guess my question is, do you have any questions?
Well, first of all, it's impressive what you and the board have been able to pull off out there at the airport. This is just a continual reinvention of that airport, especially, locking into the Contour Air after our experience before. Just outstanding work. I'm glad to hear that 1230, it'll be a 2039 problem. Good luck with that, kids. Because it won't be my problem.
I've said that too, John.
But, very appreciative of your effort and the impact it's having on our community. Council, anyone who want to
I
weigh
had
in?
a quick question. When did you assume this position? When did you take on this role?
I took this on in 2020, right during
So
COVID.
I do remember that. I want to compliment you. It's remarkable how much of an expert you've become over the years and how you've kind of turned this thing around. And I was sitting here, I was like, wow, this is the same lady I met in 2020. And now it seems like you've been doing it for, forever. You've done a fantastic job, and I love that I have perspective because I had the 2 years off. You've come a long way, and I hope that the person that follows you can fill those shoes, so thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do. It wasn't what I intended when I first started out there, but anyway, so,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Council? Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Sarah. It's great work. Thank you. Next up will be Cascade Bridge, our city engineer, Jesse Howe.
Cascade Bridge. What?
I said Sarah, I shortened it.
So I have a couple updates for everybody on Cascade Bridge. I don't know how much you guys are familiar with how everything started off, so I'm gonna back up just a little bit. In 2023, we were awarded a grant from the Scenic Byways for essentially planning and design, the engineering portion of this. As we got that grant award in place and advertised for engineering services for the bridge, we progressed into 2024. And as you can see here, we started with a project kickoff meeting in October. And we've completed quite a bit. I know it doesn't seem like it. We don't always go out and say, yay, we did a technical memo. But there has been a lot going on behind the scenes to get to where we are today. We've started initial consultation with the DOT, and because the bridge is on the Register of Historic Places, it's a lot more effort than maybe your typical project. And one of the things that I kind of alluded to just now, we were, there's no kind of guidance on this, but we were asked to do this technical memo, which we've kind of done pieces of that in the past by engaging with citizens and things, but essentially we had to lay out 5 options that we could potentially go with this bridge, ranging from doing nothing to building off alignment, rehabilitating the existing bridge, and talk about the benefits and costs of all those various options. So that was approved essentially by the DOT in late, actually it was early 2025. And then we had done a little bit more consultation with local stakeholders to kind of confirm what we had been hearing and make that presentation to the DOT, and we'd gone back and forth with them a handful of times on that technical memo. So as a result of that, We were delayed from maybe our original timeline for letting, which was essentially at the end of this year. But we are on schedule now for spring of 2027. We met with the Historic Preservation Commission here just at the end of last year to kind of tell them where we're heading, because they're going to be a big partner within this whole thing and making sure, we do our due diligence in mitigation and planning for the bridge. But kind of the big news now, again, we've been doing more work with the DOT, and they've issued essentially a determination of adverse effect to the bridge, because our chosen path forward in that technical memo is to build a new bridge on the current alignment, which means we're tearing down the existing bridge and we're replacing it with a new one. That has been communicated to the State Historical Preservation Board, and they have 30 days to respond to that, which I believe is around February 15th of this year is when that 30-day comment window closes. So that's kind of a bigger step forward, because we didn't want to come out and say, hey, we're doing another study, or we're doing this or that, because we've talked enough with the public and studied this thing about as much as you can study anything in town. So
Agreed.
So now the fun stuff is going to start relatively soon. As you can see here, we have a public meeting planned for March where we will start unveiling concepts, potential avenues for historic mitigation of the current structure, and we're really going to try to put out social media posts, whether they're well received or not. We're going to try to get everybody's input about everything they know about the bridge. One of the things we're planning for this, again, I've talked about mitigation on a couple of different occasions here.
I don't know, you'd be apprehensive about that.
I don't know. People love cannons, old things, I don't know.
Surprises me after the whole Snake Alley debacle.
Right.
Go ahead, sorry.
But anyway, we need to do mitigation, and we want people's input on what that mitigation's gonna look like. Part of what we've determined we'd like to do, that a lot of people have been going to for mitigation of historic structures like this one, is kind of a documentary type of approach, where you do a video interview, you do some producing of it, and you kind of memorialize the memory of the structure through something you can put on YouTube or something like that. And they've been well received by the DOT and the different historical societies that promote those types of things. So the actual acceptance of our mitigation is the next really big step, that once we get that, the timeline becomes really solidified on this. But, I think we have a good plan in place with the documentary and some of these other things that we're going to get public input on, to hopefully, I've highlighted that there on the schedule of an August 2026 completion of the memorandum of understanding, that we are presenting a substantial effort to mitigate the existing historic value of the bridge. So we'll have a few other public meetings throughout that time as we progress through design, but we're happy to get going on this thing. So that's what I have for you. If you have any questions for me.
Council? Great stuff, man, keep
getting
charging.
Good, go
Getting
on.
there. That's good.
Did you have anything?
I just said we're getting there.
Yep, getting there. It's been a long road, thank you. Okay, and you know what, Jesse? The room didn't clear until you spoke, so that bodes that everybody's interested in Cascade Bridge. Now, you want to see him clear out? Budget discussion.
Nice
Yeah,
comment.
you know, council's leaving. All right, Mr. Byrd, take it away.
All right, thank you. So just a continuation of Wednesday's all-day-long budget work session. A couple of things I wanted to follow up on specifically, and then see what continued questions or comments the council may have. The packet of information that was handed out to you, I'd like to start with the back, probably the back or bottom two sheets. One should be a lost or sales tax fund balance summary sheet, and the other would be a hotel motel. I'd like to start with those. So let's start with the lost, I guess. So just a couple of things. My takeaways coming out of the budget session on Wednesday. I want to reiterate about halfway down or so, the ambulance that was in there at about $436,000, I've taken that out in lieu of putting it on a 2026 bond. That saves capacity in the local option sales tax, and that's appropriate for that piece of equipment. Recreational trails, that's been moved around a little bit, but those are in current year or succeeding year, so there's $150,000 not in 26, 27 proposed. Forestry equipment, large bucket truck, same thing. I've removed that and put that towards that general obligation bond as well for 2026. Comprehensive plan, this would be more towards the bottom. Comprehensive plan, update, and parks master plan. I am going to recommend that we split that. $100,000 in fiscal '26 for the current year, and $100,000 in fiscal '27. So you see $100,000 there instead of the 200. So that brings the ending balance for the local option sales tax fund to $914,000 or 15.4%. Again, reminding council that the policy for that is 15%. I would draw your attention that, I'll go through these and then we can discuss or take any questions. So go to the hotel motel fund. I'll be similar, kind of walk through here, but maybe less changes. The Arts Collective proposal by the mayor is in there at $33,000. You'll see that towards the top on the left side. These, under the total column there, these are the projects, and then they carry over to their different internal funds there. So that's why you see $33,000 over under 2405 Arts and Culture. The auditorium floor replacement, that was in there at $200,000. I've taken that out. My recommendation is that we need a little more study and a little more conversation about that before we're ready for that. We need to know exactly what we're doing, what the costs are, what the recommendations even are for removal, replacement, repair, whatever those are. I just don't feel we have enough information on that. So I've removed that one. The Recplex has 3 items in there: the clubhouse upgrade, the batting cage demo, and the playground replacement. I recommend those all stay in there. On the Recplex playground, that piece of equipment needs to remove regardless of what we do because it's in such poor condition. It's original to the complex, but I think it's appropriate to consider replacement. Everything else is as discussed, I believe. So if you come down, that leaves a balance on June 30, 2027 at just over $224,000 or 15.99%, again, over the council's policy of 15%. Before I go any deeper into general fund revenues and expenses, any questions on those 2 internal funds?
I don't hear any.
Where's the
One at a time.
funding for the comp plan, the 100,000 from this year, is it coming out of sales tax for?
It would, yeah. It'd come out of this year's fund balance of that. And again, as I explained during the budget work session, we have that available this year, and it relieves that pressure for next year. And it's, as Eric stated, it's about an 18-month process anyway. Waiting until July 1 to kick that off just extends that entire process that much longer.
I was
Okay.
wondering about the auditorium floor. Would we involve somebody who with more expertise than the five of us?
Yeah, we've talked a little bit at the staff level who might be involved, our property maintenance, whether we need to bring in a consultant to kind of walk us through. I think BRE's main point on that is structurally, what
It's not safe.
what is available for us structurally, what we can and can't do. So we will explore that in detail. And again, we don't have that information today. Okay, then looking at the other two sheets that you have, I guess the main one would be the gross general fund revenues, because this is the number, if you look at the second page especially, so these would be our revenues into the general fund. I draw your attention to that bottom right. So there's a $781,000 quote deficit. That is generally, as we discussed, budgeting for all of the positions in the police department. So it shows up to that number, but knowing that we most likely won't spend all of that money. Just because we probably won't. Be nice if we could, but we probably won't hire 8 officers in 18 months, right?
Until we hire somebody starting tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
That's a good jinx. I would take that jinx.
yeah, okay.
I'd
Yeah,
take that one.
that's right.
We can-
Yeah, we all hope that we get that fully staffed, but, and then that leaves then the fund balance in the general fund at 19%, again, over the council's policy of 15%. That's revenues. The other sheet that you have are the expenditures. Again, it's just been updated based on this information. Probably the one thing to note in the expenditures is that the horticulturist position in the Parks Department is in there. So we did make that change as well. So I haven't had a chance to go through all of the questions and comments that I wrote down from Wednesday, so I would just ask then at this time if there are other items of concern that you want to talk about, so I can prep. And before you get into that, I want to update the timeline a little bit here as far as conversation. So we can do any number of special meetings that you want to. We can bring you back and we can talk about just the budget whenever you'd like. I would plan on February 9th, the next work session. We could have continued conversation then as well. But we really need to start setting public hearings in that on or about or before February 17th. Preferably before February 17th, so.
I do want to have an opportunity to discuss the budget in its totality again before we set those dates.
Okay. Do you want to do that again a little bit on the 9th? Do you want us to look at setting a special date and time?
I don't want to rush it, so if we can come in early on the 9th or stay late on the 9th or whatever it takes,
Okay.
that's fine with me.
And we can certainly spend, if there are some additional questions that we need to work through, we can spend time next week as well, right? And we can certainly place it on the agenda and carve out an amount of time there as well.
Yeah, I could give whatever time we needed to on the 9th
Okay,
to get it hammered out.
all right. So we'll look at doing something like that. So as far as anything else then specifically off your list or my list, anything else we need to touch base on?
I'd just like to thank you for all the work you've already done to make the changes that we discussed during the budget session. That was only Wednesday, so you haven't had a lot.
Well, yeah, but I have great staff, right? They're wonderful at what they do, especially Stephanie.
do have great
She's
staff.
Yeah, she's a wizard,
So,
so. Yeah, go ahead. I did have one other comment that I had a note here that So two other items off of the CIP that I'd like to get in here in one way or the other, and ultimately they get booked to the Budget Center, is the $5,000 CIP item to put LED lighting in the senior center. At $5,000, I think that would present a good return for that facility, knowing who our tenant is in there and what they pay for electrical today. So I would like to add that item. And then also the library computers for the management computers at $7,000. I'd like to get that in there somewhere too.
Okay.
Yes.
So, council, I'm the liaison for the Bees. I know there's some concern with them being on the CIP. I have a meeting with them tomorrow, with their board president and their director. We're gonna discuss some of those issues. I know, Councilman Scott's reached out, to me on some thoughts there. So I plan on having that, meeting with them, and then I'll respond back to you guys, either as a group on the 9th or individually. And we'll go from there. Because I too have some concerns. I do think they should be on there. However, we need to discuss what's on there. So, and that's my intent. If council is okay with that, I mean, because I do sit on their board as liaison for the city, I'm gonna, I'll work on that.
Yeah, I just wish you'd quit saying it's CIP for the Bees. It's
For
CIP
community
for
field.
For community
Yeah,
field.
you're right. It's community field.
And,
And I'm gonna share some
Yeah.
thoughts on how they can make that more community field, so.
I'll talk to you. I had quite a conversation with an individual today that,
Okay.
I think will enlighten you on some of that.
Okay, sounds good.
So the last thing I would say is on some of these items, for example, the comprehensive plan, parks master planning, and the arts collective, just because they're in the budget today, or if their budget were approved tomorrow, those still come back to council for resolution approval or contract approval or something like that. So just because they're in there doesn't mean we are done talking about it. We can still talk about timing or dollars or anything like that. If it's in the budget, you can't spend more, but you could spend less, right? So, yeah, so.
Did we make a note about the one piece of equipment that Tim and Nick both asked for that was the same thing, to see if we could share, or if they both need their own, was it skid loader?
I don't remember what that was.
The uniloader? Yeah,
We'll buy one, they'll duke it out.
Well, it was a
Right,
big, it was
so-
a big ticket item,
Yeah.
so that's why I was asking. If they, and
Okay.
I understand if it's both a necessity for both
Mhm.
of them, but if the waste
Oh, that was
management-
the end loader.
Yeah, if
Right,
that waste
right, right.
management isn't gonna use
Sure.
it quite as often, and they can just borrow it when they do need it as needed, what was it, like $400,000 or something?
I think it's less than that.
140? Maybe I'm just spitting numbers. I'd have to look it up again, but.
No,
is-
we'll bring back details on that, so,
Okay.
and we'll bring that even Monday.
So, council, we good with the robust discussion on the 9th?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll bring back what I can Monday even.
Yeah, in the
even
meantime,
if at
everybody
the top it's
email
a
your
little bit,
questions to
so.
Mr. Byrd, and so he has as much time to prep and answer questions beforehand. That'll make the meeting more efficient.
You know, I bet it was cheaper. I bet I was thinking of the ambulance with the really big one.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Next up, Board and Commission reports. Tim, you have anything?
No.
Board and Commission, okay. Annie?
I do not.
Me neither. Okay.
I guess I don't. I went to the the Solid Waste Commission for my first meeting and met the folks there, so.
Good. Well, I guess I'll circle back, Robert. Robert, do you have anything?
No, they had a meeting that I wasn't able to attend, and I think they approved, just their normal agenda.
I will say that with the CERC meeting, which is the Southeast Iowa Riverboat Commission, Chad had a meeting with one of their principals there. We're kind of investigating how that's all set up and how it's moving forward, especially with the change of ownership. We're looking into that, but that'll be first of many discussions on that. So that's probably the only thing I have, but we are discussing about how that looks going forward with the new ownership. Okay, that's boards and commissions. Let's move on to the
I can
proposed.
give you what they had. They approved
Okay.
their 25 final financials and then their 26 revised budget. And then they did some updates to their staff handbook for 26.
Great, thank you, Robert. Moving on to the proposed regular agenda for February 2nd, 2026. We'll have a proclamation for Police Officer of the Year 2025, and that'll be Michaela, is it Chris or Chris? Chris, okay. Congratulations to her. And also the 2025 Civilian Employee for the PD of the Year, and that'll be Heather Becker. So we look forward to seeing them here and awarding those proclamations. Number 3 will be a public hearing, which will be consideration of sale of property locally known as 1202 Patterson Street, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions. Mr. Tislin?
This is a lot we previously sold and then rescinded sale. They did not move forward. They're at 1202 Patterson Street. We've received an additional bid to construct a building on the property, and they would like to get started as soon as they're able to. This would be similar to the buildings on the north side of Plank Street. This lot is currently zoned R4 multifamily residential. The discussion was if they were approved for purchase, they would go through the planning commission and rezone. I think the previous individual interested in it would also inquired about the rezoning. So just kind of working through that process of, from a planning standpoint, it would make sense to rezone similar to the north side of Plank, but ultimately it'd be planning commission and city council. So the sale would be contingent upon that rezoning before they move forward. But if approved for purchase and rezoning, they would intend to start within a month or so of that, so.
Any questions, council? Moving on. Number 4 is a public hearing, consideration of sale of property locally known as 412 South Marshall Street, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions.
Again, 412 South Marshall, just south of Division here on the north, Walgreens over here northeast, just for
Yeah.
reference of location. The flyer here, just a single-family home, 3 potential bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Does, as you can see, need some clean out, but similar condition to a lot of the ones we acquire. It does have a detached garage off of the alley there. It does have to repair, replace siding, windows as necessary, interior ceiling, clean out and meet all our applicable codes, plumbing, electrical, mechanical. Currently, we have 1 bid on the property. We've had a couple others potentially express interest.
Okay. Any questions or concerns, council? Moving on. Number 5 is public hearing, consideration of an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 73 speed regulations of the Burlington Municipal Code. This will be the first reading. Mr. McGregor.
Good evening again. This ordinance change comes as a reflection of the police department and public works discussing the school zones and the way they're currently signed versus what is reflected in the code of ordinances. A few years ago, we had altered the signage underneath the city manager's authority because the schools' times they were extending past their normal let-out time to adhere to different schedules. So we altered the signs underneath that guide, but we never changed the code of ordinances back, nor re-signed it back to the appropriate. So the police department and myself met with a representative from the school district and discussed changing the code to reflect what we want the time for the school zones to be represented. And so in the code change, you see at 7:30 to 4:30 for the school zones to be enforceable. So we think that that's reasonable. The previous or the current signage says 5 p.m. and the current code says 4. So 4:30 seems appropriate. Most of the kids are out of the school area. The superintendent wrote an email, and I put that in the memo. So supportive of that change as well.
Okay, council, any thoughts or concerns?
Is that, well, in that same one, is that also eliminating Mason Road?
That comes as a resolution after this next item.
Okay.
Yeah. Any concerns about this one, council? Moving on, we'll have a reading on that. Number 6 will be the public hearing consideration of a permanent encroachment agreement with Great River Casino Resort LLC for encroachment into the city right-of-way at 3001 Weingard Drive, Burlington, Iowa.
This is being brought forward essentially for the change of ownership. Currently, it's under Huckleberry Holdings, and this is going to Great River Casino Resort LLC. They have some existing light poles on the edges of their parking lot, and then some directional signage on the complex, getting them to the various aspects of the facility, being the water park or Fun City or the casino, that were previously approved through city council. But with the change of ownership, it requires a new encroachment with the current new owner, which they're looking to finalize here in the next month or so. So really, it's just a change of ownership, no new items. All items stay the same, but just going to Great River Casino Resort.
Like
Seems
the
pretty,
railing on Sixth Street.
yeah, seems
Yeah, we-
pretty straightforward. Council, you have any questions? All right, moving on. And last will be on the public agenda, or regular agenda, sorry. It's a resolution approving removal of the school zone on Mason Road.
So also in the same conversation, we discussed school zones as they are and the potential for any sort of changes or removals. Both the police department and ourselves believe that the Mason Road school zone has kind of changed over time as the infrastructure around it has changed. As you can tell, there's a trail that has been installed along Mason Road, eliminating any of the pedestrians that may have been on the roadway at one point. There's really no cross traffic for pedestrians or kids. Most of it's vehicular. I don't know if you want to step in, Chief, or not, but this seems like an appropriate change. The school district also agreed that the removal of the Mason Road school zone, they felt that it was fine. So that's reflected in a memo that I also included in the packet, so.
Can I ask an additional question to the removal of school zone? Is there any way to get that street with a consistent speed?
So-
Because it goes up and down and up and down.
Yeah, so I mean, roadways, their speed limits change based on kind of the circumstances around it. Mason Road, as you get closer towards Summer and Harrison, the S-curves are specified that way because of the S-curves. There's a distance between the S-curves and, I'd say like Haskell, where it is 25 mile an hour. And a lot of that is old history that I don't know that we want to unpack. But prior to the roadway being installed, kind of as an arterial, it was a residential neighborhood. And so it was kind of agreed upon at that point that it was 25. Council has the ability to change speed limits at any time. If you tell me can we change the speed limit to be consistent throughout that whole area, we'll look at it and do that.
Yeah.
But there are reasons why things end up the way they are, and I don't know that I would change the S-curves. People already have significant issue dealing with that at 25. I wouldn't recommend it going to 30.
Just wanted it documented why.
Yeah.
Because people ask about it all the time. That's why I asked you the question.
So I think the school zone removal will help quite a bit
Yes.
because of the kind of the yo-yo effect of the speed limits through there. But at the end of the day, the roadway area changes around
Okay.
it.
So it will become 30 by maybe Hageman or something and then stay.
Whatever it's currently signed, so in the non-school zone timeframe, it's signed, I don't want to
30.
drop, I think it's 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
There is a segment where it drops to the east at 25, and then closer towards Roosevelt, it's at 35.
Right,
Okay, there's it. Okay.
okay.
Nick, do you know if the school was interested in looking at division at all, or that's off the table?
So we did discuss the Division Street area with them, and that's something that they see quite a few kids crossing still.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And so we did discuss further beyond just the school zone part, about some of the RFBs, the rapid firing beacons, as something that maybe they would look at installing. So I travel division 6, 7, 8 times a day. I know, I fell into Tim's trap. And, no, child.
Thank you.
So I don't know that the school system is interested in that. I see that there's not a lot of kids going across there, but again, if the school system doesn't
maybe-
recommend it, then I don't know that we would change it on our
You
behalf.
At
still
certain
have-
times of the
There is,
day,
because you
there
have
are
neighborhoods
quite a
there,
few.
and then you have an elementary, and you have a middle school, and 2 high schools there, so.
Yeah.
I think it has to stay where it's at, so. Anyway,
That people still speed through that school zone
Oh,
regardless, it's crazy. My suggestion in the email was that when children are present, but I don't know if people will pay attention to that or not. I don't think they care, but
And I don't want to continue, but I will.
Yeah.
No, you're okay.
Yeah, I think it's an enforcement issue too, right? When children are present, I don't know if that's an issue. If someone's speeding through and there's, a kid running away, or how do you enforce that, I guess,
Yeah, I don't-
is the
right.
question.
well, it would
That works.
be likely during the times when kids are going to school or leaving the school, the walkers anyway. So it'd have to be patrolled during those times, which I don't.
I've seen
know that-
flashing beacons before,
Yeah.
similar to Highway 218.
yeah, and when you put the speed signs there on Divisional last year, because I'm on that road 8, 9 times a day as well, those make a difference. They just do. They make a difference because it reminds you, you got all the crap going on in your day. That sign flashes at you. I'm constantly slowing down now, leaving Hy-Vee or going east on Hy-Vee. It says, slow down. Yes, I will. And it's because it's a good reminder. So, it's not, a lot of times it's not that people are intentionally doing it. I think they just get lost in their day. So, a beacon or something like that, I think it helps a lot. I think it helps greatly, just to remind our citizens, hey, school's in session, so.
I got one more spot for you, Nick.
What's that?
On, once Mount Pleasant turns to Spring, that last block going east right before you hit Central, that one block before the stop sign turns to 20, and you're gonna stop at the stop sign, and then it picks up on the actual blocks that are by the school. That one is probably not necessary to even be there. That you're gonna stop at the stop sign, it's, I don't know how many feet, it's probably not necessary.
Well, for this topic area, for this resolution, can you just put that into an email and describe what
Yes, sir.
you're
Yes,
talking
sir.
about?
Yep.
So that way I can, if council wants to give me that directive, I can reapproach the school district so I can better explain to them what we're talking
What's
about.
going on with that one.
So-
Yeah, sorry about that.
Do we have any problems with the Mason, because that's what he's here to talk about?
No.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's all right. So, good to go on that. On the proposed, yeah, you're fine, Robert. On the proposed consent agenda for February 2nd, 2026, we'll have a resolution approving the nuisance abatements for various properties.
It's only one page.
Well, it's
How can
progress,
we do
but
that?
it'll come right back at you this spring.
Yeah, it just snowed, that's why.
Yeah, and then so if you have a question or concern on those properties, reach out to Mr. Tislin, and he can answer your questions. Number 2 is a resolution approving a final plat of Weaver 2 subdivision, so we'll discuss that you want to discuss that now, I'm sorry, it's
Yeah,
on the
yep,
consent.
yeah. This is a one-lot subdivision in the county. This kind of shows it, there's an outlot reserved for future right-of-way back to a single-lot subdivision. A couple notes with this. This is just one lot, it's in the 2-mile area, so we have review. One condition or note that we put on that is if further development were to occur, then they'd have to meet current standards for roadway, similar to the Nagraki subdivision that occurred recently. For reference, this is just west of Roosevelt Avenue, north of Sunnyside. The previous subdivision that we had discussion on with the roadway, where they were doing 6 lots, was directly to the west. This having a outlot, single driveway to a lot right now, but once they, or if they further subdivide, they'd have to meet current standards for roadways for the city, so hopefully that makes sense, but just outside the city limits here on Memorial Park Road.
Any thoughts or concerns, council? We all right with this remaining on the consent? Okay, hearing nothing, we'll move on. Then we'll have some future discussion items. Mark your calendars, February 9th, we'll also have Travis Squires here, so that will be a long meeting, council. Number 2 would be Greater Burlington Housing Program on February 23rd. And then the Vets Ride Transit Program by Jocelyn Gonzalez Williams, Self-Reliance Group. We'll have a report from them March 30th. Go around the horn and get also a note from a concerned citizen. Has noted that it does not show we're live streaming. It says it's January 12th, but it is a live stream, so we might need to note that we're, it's not January 12th, it's the 26th. Eric, what do you have from development?
Just a reminder on the City Academy, I know I've hit this a lot, I think we have 6 applicants so far, so we still want individuals
Can you ramp
to apply. Application deadline's the February 12th, and the academy starts February 26th, but just a great way to get into each department, talk with the directors and supervisors, learn about the budget, and also meet the city council here and be able to ask questions throughout, learn a little bit more, and get some tours. So encourage people that are interested to go to the city website and apply for the City Academy.
Okay, council, if you are so inclined, please share that on your social media feed so we can fill that class up. Tim, anything from wastewater tonight? Sure, why not? Come on up.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about sludge, because I know everybody likes that.
Oh, man, can't wait.
Actually, at the budget presentation, I realized I didn't really answer a question, so I was just going to say a little bit about it. It'll probably be a little bit redundant too, but so the sludge consists of bacteria, organics, and grit. And that's just what's left over after the treatment process. So a small amount of polymer is added to this. Basically, it's like a really runny soup material. And this polymer, it's long strands of hydrocarbons with charged sites on them, and it allows that stuff to clump into, basically it ends up looking like hamburger, like I had mentioned. And
I
it
gotta
allows,
start eating before
it allows water to drain, it allows the water to drain off of it. So what's leaving the digester is 95% water typically, 96% water. And once it combines with this polymer, that flocculation occurs, clumps up, water drains off by gravity. It is dumped onto belts, filter belts, 7 or 8 foot wide belts in a gravity area. Then it's run through rollers, and the rest of that water is squeezed out. So ultimately, it ends up being about 19-20% solids, 80% water. You would think that would be still not very, it would still be pretty soupy, but it really isn't. It's kind of resembles a cake, a chocolate cake or whatever, but it tastes different. But,
Linda Murray can tell you.
don't ask me how I know that. So this is how we are able to save on hauling costs. So we're not hauling a tank of this liquid soup around. So it reduces it quite a bit. So I don't know if that answered it a little bit better.
Would it be good fertilizer for those planters that we're getting?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, but I probably have to communicate with the DNR about that first.
Yeah, you might want to check that out first. Well, thank you so much for giving us that discussion.
Before
Brittany,
dinner.
library?
Do you like cake?
I gotta eat beforehand. I'll
Tim,
tell you.
does sludge smell?
It's an earthy smell.
So like worms.
Thanks to everybody who shopped at the Friends book sale. They sold out once again, 10,000 books out the door in 3 days. So all that money will come back and pay for programming at the library. Thanks to everyone also who donates coats and mittens and food to the library. We provide a lot of assistance to folks in need. And I want to give a special shout out to County Supervisor Shane Johnson. 8:30 on Saturday morning, we opened
Shane
early.
McCampbell.
Shane McCampbell, I'm sorry. Shane Johnson. Shane McCampbell. 8:30 on Saturday, it was like 4 below with the actual temperature and 20 below with the wind chill. We had a lot of folks outside the library, so we opened early, let them in the lobby, and Shane rolled up at about 8:30 and was handing out coats and sleeping bags and blankets, so he's doing a lot of good work that goes unseen, so special shout out to him, and thanks for all that he does. We started work with the retro commissioning study today, and there's a lot of people involved with this. It's Alliant, Michaels Energy, SETI, the state level Clean Energy District group, and the local Des Moines County Energy District group that are going to help us do a study on our geothermal system to make sure that we're running efficiently. And I just wanted to share a small paragraph from the report that they shared today. It said, benchmark data for similar facilities in this climate zone indicates that an average energy use intensity for similar facilities is higher than that of the library, which is a testament to the current level of building maintenance as well as the use of LED technology for illumination of most building spaces. So we are doing good work for sustainability in that building. We're going to keep doing it and see what this study brings back. That'll probably take place mid-February. And then I'll report back when we have the finding from that study. And then the last thing is this Saturday is the largest annual seed swap. All libraries across the state of Iowa, well, most libraries across the state of Iowa participate in this. So at 1 o'clock, stop on by the library and pick up some seeds. I know it's bitter cold out, but it's not too early to start thinking about your garden. The Master Gardeners will also be hosting a meet and greet. So if you've got questions about how to grow the seeds that you're going to get from the library, that's a good time to come by and pick their brains. That's it.
My kids are waiting for the next round of hide and seek in the library, just to put that on your plate.
Chief Schaefer, anything for PD? Chief Toops?
Nothing tonight.
Okay. Back to you, Nick or Jesse. Jesse? Jesse, what's up with the short sleeve shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice out.
It's nice out, yeah. Only
He's from
Public
Iowa.
Works.
I'm from up a little further north, I don't know. One thing I just wanted to remind everybody on, we've been trying to get the word out, but up on the screen here, we have a connectivity study that we have out there trying to determine the best way to serve the public on how they'd like to walk, recreate, and get around town. It's important to fill out so we can get you what you need and hopefully use it for some grants.
What's the
So,
deadline on it?
end of this week.
Okay.
So
So again, council, share if you would.
Do we know how many people have filled it out?
I know the first week we had about 70, and we tried, I don't mean to bring up Cannons again, but we tried to ride the Cannons coattails and get some things out while Facebook was hot.
Oh, that's great.
I don't know if the responses are going to be exactly what we want, but, you know.
Can I make a suggestion that maybe we don't do that?
Well, yeah, you're probably right, but we tried to couple it with good trail news.
Let's fill out a survey right now together as
But
a group.
I,
Let's do it.
I'm afraid we do have some Cannon talk in our trail survey,
Yeah,
our
all
connectivity
right.
survey, so. Anyway.
Thank you.
that's,
Thank you. Yeah,
Just
well,
a shout out
That's
to
another sharing.
get
Okay,
that.
is that it from Public Works then, Nick? You don't have anything to add? Good man. Mr. Byrd?
He delegates way better than I do. A couple of things, Mayor, you mentioned Travis Squires, the city financial planner, coming on February 9th. Just highlight that. Any budget questions you might have, certainly get them to us. Think more long-term budgeting, bonding, CIP, that's where he's going to go. And kind of highlight how we can do some of the things we've talked about in our CIPs. So,
Can we have
water.
coffee that night?
Yeah, we'll make some
Please,
coffee,
yes,
yeah.
thanks.
Travis does a great job. We'll keep it efficient, so.
All right.
Let's see, where was I? Waterworks is not here tonight. They didn't really have a report other than to say, water main breaks are doing well in terms of them not having any, except they did have one, a week ago,
Division?
unfortunately on Division Street, so.
Isn't that right? About the same place they did last time?
Yeah, it's not too far from there, and if you drive that road often, like you do, you'll see patches here and there, and it's just aged infrastructure, and things happen when the temperature goes crazy, so. So I didn't really have anything else. I did want to bring up the Canon conversation, and just kind of clarify a few things for council and for the public. Staff, specifically park staff, had approached me several months ago about the condition of that cannon. And they came forward with lots of information, including projected costs of in the neighborhood of $15,000 or more to make any kind of repairs. We saw a lot of metal, sheet metal, broken, missing, rusted off of it. The thing's been there for more than 60 years, and it's just in a dilapidated state. They did reach out to several naval veterans. They reached out to the Department of the Navy, tried to find as much information as they could about this cannon and its value, both intrinsic and historic. And when they brought that information to me, they asked, well, what if we just got rid of it as obsolete and outdated and in too far of a condition to repair? And so I made the decision to get rid of it. Other options available to us, it didn't sound like the Department of the Navy wanted anything to do with it. They didn't want it back. We could have loaned it or given it to another organization, but who, where, and at what costs. And so just given public safety, knowing that our staff doesn't have the ability to maintain the way we'd like to with something that really isn't even maybe appropriate for a park in a setting where kids are climbing on it. It's an attractive nuisance type thing. I made the decision to allow them to go ahead and get rid of it, and so we did that. That's really all I have on that, so I would ask if there are any questions or concerns. I would apologize that I didn't bring that to you ahead of time. That's on me. But it just seemed like it was in the best interest financially and otherwise for the city, so I made that call.
I don't have a problem at all, and I would like to report that a number of years ago, when we had visitors from a foreign country, the question was asked, did we have enemies in Illinois? So
Well, those are still
I'm glad to
protected.
see them gone.
Yeah, those guns are still protecting us. We won't let Illinois approach our.
So just for clarification, this is the one deeper into the park in Danquart. It's not the ones on the bluff. We're not considering those. They're in a lot better condition, so. And then regarding similar items,
I think
yeah.
I know where you're going. I might have an answer for you. So let's discuss that first, and then we'll go from there.
regarding the aircraft?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that was the next thing on my list that I wanted to talk about a little bit, so.
That might be resolved.
There's a jet aircraft called a T-33 that used to be in the park, I understand, although it's uncertain to me, certainly, and some others I've talked to, when it was in the park and when it was removed from the park, but it's been many years. It is now housed at the airport. The city still has it. But I do receive a letter from the Department of the Air Force every year asking, do we have it? Do we want it? What are we doing with it? So they are keeping track of it. They would want it back if the city decided to decommission it or however relinquish. There have been, even in my short tenure here of 5 years, there have been no less than 2 or 3 attempts to refurbish it and remount it at the airport. But every time those efforts get started, they stall for whatever reason. And here we are today, 2 years from the most recent conversation, and still nothing has been done with it. It's still in a state of disrepair, and it's sitting in the back of the airport untouched. At some point in time, I will bring that to the council. and ask you what you want to do with it.
Yeah, there's a problem with it. There's cement in the wings. The Air
I understand
Force
that,
would want
yeah.
the cement removed first.
Maybe,
That's,
yeah.
according to the letter that I saw, that they'd want that removed. Talking to a couple of the airport board personnel, they have a spot they'd like to move that to, down by the hangars. They feel it would be appropriate. And so that might take care of the problem for you.
Okay, well, very good.
So we'll see. We'll get together and discuss that.
Okay. Otherwise, that's all I have. Thanks for the input and conversations about the budget. Ongoing.
On the Canon, it's been said that it's of no real historical value, except for the 3 generations of kids that climbed all over it. I don't want to diminish the value that the citizens of Burlington, in particular all those that weighed in on Facebook, put into that. I mean, I don't think I've seen any issue in recent years that upset more people than what that one did. I would hope that in future decisions that are made like that, and they don't come along very often, but in future decisions that we do have our advisory boards be a part of that discussion, and that the council be advised that those discussions are taking place, and what the results of those are before we take any kind of action like that. That's
Understood.
Okay. Council wrap up. Robert, anything tonight? Tim, anything else tonight?
sir.
Okay, anything else tonight? Mayor Pro Tem, anything else tonight?
Nope, thank you.